I've lived in this cottage for nearly 30 years now. My husband, Harold, built it with his own hands before arthritis stole the strength from his knuckles and the wind from his breath. We raised our daughter here, watched every season bloom and rot through these very windows. And when Harold passed away 12 years ago, I stayed. People ask me why I never moved, why I didn't go somewhere smaller, easier, closer to town. But they didn't understand. This house holds everything. Every plank creaks with memory. Every breeze down the hallway reminds me I once had love. My name is Evelyn. I'm 71 years old, and for most of my life, I've been someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's neighbor. Rarely just Evelyn. I used to paint. Not professionally, but I used to mix colors on cheap paper and lose myself in hours of brushstrokes. After Harold died, I put everything away. My paints dried out in their tubes. The easel gathered dust. Even the light through the kitchen window, the one he loved calling God's spotlight, seemed to fade. Then, 2 months ago, I had a moment that changed me. Not loudly, not with fireworks, but with a silence so complete, so total, it shook something loose in me. Began like any other day. I had just finished folding laundry. My routines are still sharp, even with no one watching, and decided to shower. I left the door open. No one ever visits unexpectedly. The old boiler grumbled the way it always had, and I let the water run warm across skin that had seen decades. When I stepped out, I didn't bother with a towel right away. It was a hot June morning, the kind where clothes feel like a punishment. I walked barefoot into my bedroom, humming a tune I couldn't place. That's when I saw him, my neighbor's son Thomas. He had been sent to check the electrical box, something about a power concern affecting the whole street. I must have missed the notice, or perhaps I forgot. The door, foolishly, was unlocked. He stood in the hallway, frozen, eyes wide with the kind of panic only youth can carry. He apologized quickly, turned away, and left before I could say a word. I stood there stunned. Not from embarrassment, though I suppose I should have been, but from something else. Something deeper. For the first time in over a decade, someone had seen me. Not Evelyn the widow. Not Evelyn the retired lady. It was me. In the most raw, unguarded moment. Vulnerable but real. I didn't cry. I didn't panic. I laughed. I laughed so hard I had to sit on the edge of the bed to catch my breath. That afternoon, I opened the closet and pulled out my old art supplies. I found the dried-up brushes, cracked palettes, stiff canvases. Cleaned them all. Went to town the next morning and bought new oils, a fresh easel, and 3 blank canvases. The girl at the counter called me ma'am, but smiled when I told her I planned to paint again. That week, I painted like I was possessed. Faces I remembered. Landscapes that only existed in memory. The hallway where Harold used to rest after mowing the lawn. The exact shade of sky from the day we took our last photo together. Days passed. I didn't answer calls. I ignored the mail. I sat by the window in that golden light and painted. A week later there was a knock at my door. It was Thomas. Nervous, polite, holding a bag of peaches from their tree. I wanted to say I'm sorry again, he said. And thank you for not yelling or calling the police or anything. I offered him tea. Not because I felt obliged, but because I was curious. Curious about how the world saw me now. Curious about the distance between generations, and whether kindness could fill it. We talked for nearly an hour. About books, about silence, about losing people and the things we do to feel whole again. Before he left, he looked around at the paintings stacked near the fireplace. You did these? He asked. Yes, I said. Just recently. After a very unexpected morning. He laughed. They're beautiful. You should show them. I shook my head. They're not for the world. They're for me. And I meant it. In the days that followed, I found myself changing. I wore my silk robe instead of the worn gray one. I let the sunlight warm my shoulders through the kitchen window again. I answered calls from my daughter, not with tiredness, but with stories. And though I never saw Thomas again after that, I often think of him. Not for the accident, not for the surprise, but because he unknowingly returned something to me. Visibility. Life doesn't end at 70. Changes shape. And sometimes in the most unplanned ways, it dares us to remember who we were. And who we still are. I now keep the front door locked mostly. But I leave the windows open wide. The breeze carries light, and I want every corner of this house to glow again. Not for Harold. Not for anyone. For me.